things going today?
Good, thank you. Yeah, I have an ice cold beer, so what could be wrong?
Yeah, cheers. It's Friday. Some of us are working from home. We're doing this remotely. Doing this remotely through some screen sharing and Discord. So we apologize for any potential low quality audio, but we have, how many do we have? 40 questions to answer. And I didn't even end up taking all the questions in the thread because we just don't have time to do more than 40. So thank you to everybody that submitted your questions. I saw there were some new people there. Thank you so much for picking up the game. We really do hope you appreciate it and enjoy. So let's jump into question number 1. Here we go. Will you add the ability to buy more than one pack at a time with gold?
We have not. We don't have any plans for that at the moment, no. But it's a good idea.
Okay. Okay, apparently there is an echo in the audio, so I need to fix that in some way. And I'm not quite sure where the echo is coming from because we're using the weird sound solution. So chat, is it me that's echoing or is it Guðmundur that's echoing? We'll keep going and I'll fix it as we go. What can be hearing?
Should I be muting myself when we're not speaking then, or something like that?
Try that. Try that. But it's probably something to do with me rather than you. Because I'm double. It's only me. Okay. Come on. Where can we figure this out? So there we go. I'm muted here. I should be muted here. I'm not sure where the echo is coming from, Gumi. Is the echo real bad, guys?
I don't hear any echo myself, so. Only the echoes within my mind.
Well, okay, we're in here. This is all muted. Fixed? Okay, hey, fixed it. I don't even know what I did, but apparently I fixed it. Cool. All right, so let's keep going. Apologies for this, but we're good to go now. So next question, how are ties determined for the officer club ranks? Is there a contingency plan in place? I can take this one. So when it comes to ties for the officer club championship, normally, there's no need for a tiebreaker. But if it comes down to who's going to qualify for an OCC, who's going to qualify for world championships or receive some sort of prizes, we'll have them play for it. I mean, I'm a firm believer that, tertiary or third or fourth or fifth level of statistics determining ties isn't the way to go. So, just duke it out. We'll just set up a match and play for it.
Makes sense.
Next question, and this one is good for you, Guðmi. Are you happy with the current meta for the game?
To a large extent, yes. I think the meta is pretty balanced and nice at the moment, and there's a lot of different flavors going on. But of course, we are never 100% happy with it. And we have a patch coming out on Tuesday where we are shaking things up a little bit once again.
So I actually just finished recording the patch preview video with J King before we jumped on into here. That's why we're actually a few minutes late. Apologies to everyone for that. But I expect us to upload that probably tomorrow or maybe tonight if we're feeling extra generous and spicy. But when is the patch hitting exactly, Guðmi?
I think it's Tuesday.
Tuesday. So everybody, Tuesday, wait for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and keep your eyes on the patch preview. J King can confirm in chat that it's an exciting one. So, all right, the next one is OCC running in November or December with everything else going on. I can take this one. So, yes, the OCC is running in November and it's running in December. We're not gonna drop this, what we believe is a very logical progression to grinding the ladder, just because we're running other tournaments. Now, I do understand that some players, might not have the time needed to fully commit to playing all the tournaments within a month or something. So if they have to pull out of something, that's completely fine, and we will find someone to fill that in. But November is a pretty huge competitive month for us. We have more tournaments and more tournament weekends than we do weekends. So the OCC in November is actually going to be played on weekdays because the weekends are going to be occupied for the World Championship play-ins and a third KARDS Open that's going to have special rules limiting the amount of elites and specials you can bring. So it's going to be more kind of approachable for newer players. So at the end of the month, even if you just started, there's going to be a tournament for you.
That sounds awesome, Oli. Great job.
Just hearing this for the first time, my boss on the other side, he's like, "Yeah, good job, Oli. Apparently, we're paying you to do something." All right. Next question. Any updates on the World Championship format? How will seeding be determined for the top 16? I just gave you a little bit of an update on the format, but just to go a little bit further. So there's going to be 2 Swiss weekends. The first is going to be the 128 that qualified. Out of those, 8 are going to qualify for the top 16. Then we're going to reset everything. We're going to do another Swiss tournament to qualify the other 8. These Swiss tournaments are going to be 7 rounds. Each round is best of 3. You're going to play 4 rounds on day number 1, 3 rounds on day number 2. Then on weekend number 3, so to speak, we'll play the top 16 down to the top 4 before giving you a 2-week break before the finals on the 5th and 6th of December. I hope that answers everything, but if there's more, feel free to ask me wherever you can find me. Next, are there any plans to increase the size of the friend list again in the future? Apparently 100 is not enough, Kumi.
We haven't really discussed it. We thought, 100 would be sufficient, but if a lot of players are coming and saying that it's not enough, then we'd be happy to reconsider.
Yeah. All right. This next question is a less of a serious one. Will there be another epic Spoos versus Ollie match on stream in the future? I'm pretty sure we can make that happen, but I feel like we should do it on Spoos' stream this time around. So Spoos, if you're watching, I challenge you to a duel. After the new patch hits, my secret weapon, it's not going to be as secret anymore. So read into that what you will. Next one. Any date on when you will revamp the resistance mechanic, and can you tell more about your plans on changing it?
Well, I can just tell you, we're not going to revamp the whole mechanic. We don't have plans for that at the moment, but we are definitely going to tweak some cards, and the first couple of changes to 2 different resistance cards are coming on Tuesday. So
I'm gonna spoil this so more people watch the patch preview. We're making changes to Viva la Resistance and Liberation. So everybody that's wanted to see those cards get some changes, you should now sit on the edge of your seat right now and wait. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click the bell so you get notifications, so you can see exactly what those changes are as soon as we release the patch preview. Next question, will there be any changes to cards in the immediate future? Right now, it seems like a good and balanced meta. The answer is yes, we're patching Tuesday, but kind of after that and on to the finals of the World Championship, there's going to be not as many big changes, but we might have some smaller tweaks, right, Gumi?
Yeah, I mean, until then, like you say, it would be pretty calm and only something that's really, really broken, or maybe we'll buff some less used cards or something like that. The relatively minor changes.
Okay. Next game. Any plans on making the gold cards stand out more? Right now, I can't even tell the difference between regular and gold cards when playing. The answer to this is yes, definitely. It's just something we need to find the time to do. So if you do have a gold card, rest assured it will become properly gold one day.
Absolutely.
Here's one that I'm a huge fan of, but I point this to Gumi because ultimately he needs to make this decision. Are you planning on adding a leaderboard to draft?
I'm very fond of that idea as well. We have or we have on the roadmap somewhere a plan to revisit the whole draft a little bit and give it some love. And I think leaderboard with that would be really awesome. When exactly, I can't really promise anything.
Yeah, and we're kind of going down the rabbit hole a little bit on the draft here. The next question is draft related as well. Will we be able to select card backs in draft in the future? I think in general, the cosmetics that people own, they really want to bring them into draft. So I guess the question in general can be framed, will we be able to use cosmetics in draft?
Yeah, I mean, we've been discussing a lot of changes to the general UI in regards to how you select, the props for the table and the card packs and all that stuff. There is no, real reason why you shouldn't be able to do it in draft. It was just, a practical reason because you don't go into your deck in the same way as when you are playing a regular game. That's why it's not possible, but we definitely want to add the possibility. At least so that the last deck the last card pack that you used for a PvP game or regular game, that would then be default selected for draft or something like that, at least, at the very least.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that could be pretty cool. Another question about draft. I don't know the answer to this one actually. Is the final draft achievement reward something unique and worthwhile?
I don't remember exactly what that reward is, but I realized that you have to, yeah, it's quite a stretch to achieve that. The short answer is maybe that the achievement system will not be there for so much longer. We will be phasing that out pretty soon. So yeah, so that issue will not really be there anymore.
Yes. Yeah. Won't get a physical buff though. No, I mean we won't change anything. In terms of gold cards, will become more about the aesthetic in the future. Ballistic Gamer. So Ballistic Gamer just recycled all his gold cards and then comes here and we tell him that his gold cards are going to be cool one day. So just wanted to give him some peace of mind. All right. Next one. When will we see a revamp of draft progression and an increased win ceiling?
That's, I mean, like I was mentioning before with the other draft questions, we haven't really slotted it out on the roadmap. It's not coming at least before the end of this year. Very unlikely because we're focusing on some new player experience things. We're of course working on the expansion and we're working on mobile and the progression systems and several other things. So draft is hopefully early next year. We'll have some space to give it some more love.
Okay. Next question. Can we get some cards merchandise to buy?
Yeah, do you want to take that one?
Yes, I can. So the short the short answer, I think, is we would love nothing more than to sell you guys a bunch of merch, right? That would be awesome. But if we want to deliver, high quality and good merchandise to you guys that isn't just, print the logo on a t-shirt, then that requires considerable work and effort. And when you start talking about, we're a global game, you start talking about fulfillments and logistics and all that kind of stuff, it can be really, a logistical nightmare really quickly. So it's more than to just say it. However, um, I think we should definitely be able to work with a community at identifying maybe you know one or two items that people would like to buy, maybe around Christmas or something like that, and do a small batch, a manufacturing for you collectors out there, because I feel like that's also something that we can do to just give back to you guys for playing the game. So let me just I'll say it here. I will look into the possibility of setting up some sort of vote or poll for the community to pick a product that we can make before Christmas.
That's a good idea.
I'll look into that. All right. Next question. Can we choose which kind of deck we play against in training?
Yeah, it's definitely something we've been discussing quite recently to allow players to choose their and even possibly difficulty level as well. I think it would be really nice for players who just want to test some deck ideas or things like that. It would be good to be able to select your opposing nations.
Yeah. So what I would say from my perspective here, and also just to give additional context, we're talking a lot about new types of features, maybe reworking certain user experiences or processes. We are still a very, very small team, in terms of our capabilities to make those changes. We're working to expand that, but know that, every suggestion, question, and comment that has been asked in any of these AMAs is noted down for us. So we do have a list that is, probably the length of the distance between the Earth and the Sun of stuff that we want to do. And hearing these questions from you guys kind of validates some of our own ideas. So we really do appreciate that. But definitely, show us some patience, and we will happily deliver, what you guys are asking for in due time.
Yeah.
Next question. Can we see the AI deck in training after the match?
To see what be able to see all the deck.
Yeah, basically, this question came with a context of, I kind of want to know what I'm playing against, and if I'm playing against a deck that was particularly difficult for me, what are the cards that are in that? What are the cards he didn't draw? That kind of stuff. And this was a player that kind of ended up leaving the AI on 1 HP and having them play their entire deck to be able to note it down. So that's kind of the context of the question.
Yeah. We don't have any plans to add that at the moment. I think it would be a bit of a complicated system for something that not that many players might use. I don't know. I think we definitely don't want to do it, of course, for players, but it's something to think about, definitely. Yeah.
All right. Can we get a tech tree to recognize what kinds of cards we own? I think this is a pretty interesting, topic in general. Is there something we can do to create kind of a hierarchical explanation of what cards has to offer?
Can you elaborate a bit the question?
So, it's basically like, could we order the cards in some way based on archetypes, right? So you might have like whatever works with tokens is something that goes under tokens or something like that. Or that's the way I interpreted it, at least.
I think, concepts like, tokens or blitz or, these different types of either card-specific archetypes of decks or just general card game archetypes is something that I think it belongs more on the player side, than in the game itself. I mean, we never talk about tokens in the game itself anywhere, so.
Yeah, and to that point, Team Radiant Gaming, for instance, they posted a crafting guide for new players and have been doing a lot of that educational type content. So would be definitely cool to see more of that type of content coming out of the community so that we can also give it wings and make it reach as many people as possible.
It's definitely something, I mean, I would be really interested in maybe improving also on our deck website. I think that would be more a good place for such things from our end,
Yeah, absolutely. Next question, will more nations be added to the game? I'll answer this one really quick. It's yes. We answer this one every time, but I always want to keep it in there because it's important for us to keep reinforcing this. We will add more nations. We just need to make sure that we kind of pace ourselves and not just throw everything out there and then get stuck without content for the next 8 years.
Yeah. We're going to be there for a longer time than World War II actually took. So
we already have, right?
Well, if you take it from when the idea was born, or
yeah, so it's basically it's taken longer to get to this point of cards than it took to end World War II.
When you put it like that,
that sounds really bad. That's true.
it's been fun. World War II, I think.
All right, let's get to this one. Would you let the community know if you adjusted the probabilities of getting the different rarity cards, or is this considered a secret?
Sorry, I missed that a little bit.
Would you let the community know if you changed the probabilities of getting different rarity cards, or is this considered a secret?
I mean, we have not been meddling with, I assume this is talking about different rarities from card packs.
Yes.
And we have not been meddling around with that at all for a very long time. I think yes, and there have been some discussions of maybe just putting the exact percentages out there. I'm not promising that maybe 100%, but I think we want to be upfront if we are doing some changes to that.
Yeah. I mean, transparency is one of the things that we kind of strive for. So I do expect us to at least I would advocate for us communicating that personally. So
Yeah, I'm leaning towards that as well, just to be have it all up on the table.
So there was another question that kind of came with this that I can answer as well, and it was asking, are all card packs equal regardless of where you get them? So if you get them as a reward, if you buy them in the store and everything, and yes, all the card packs are equal in odds. So there's no difference between packs.
Not yet. Let's say.
Ooh, teasers. All right, next question. Could we be allowed to use all our emotes with all nations? So people really want to say different quotes for different nations.
Well, some of the emotes are kind of nation specific that we really wanted to reflect the kind of character and style of the different nations. So I think we will keep some of them restricted, just like the card packs and so on. But maybe we want to add maybe more emotes that are just generic anyway.
Yeah, I think that's a good
But I
answer.
mean, if you're playing with USA, I mean, it makes no sense to say Banzai, you know.
But it would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah, perhaps.
Maybe. Who knows? But I see chat here just goes, I'd bonsai with everything, and I kind of agree. It is my favorite emote. I would probably bonsai with everything as well. All right, next question. Could you make the history of the card readable during battle?
I think we had this question before. I'm leaning very strongly to keeping that out of the battle scene. I mean, it is something that you can take your time to study and look at in the collection. But when you're playing a game, I mean, people might even get distracted, and it's also a question of just space in the UI within the battle. So I think we'll keep it where it is, unless there are riots, outside the office telling us otherwise.
And maybe in the future in the future there can be an online place or something where we can place the history text next to the cards, so you're able to browse that while you play, but not likely to appear in the battlefield itself.
Yeah.
Another thing to make available during battle, could you make chat fully available during battle? It's amazing. It feels like we're underestimating how many friends people have and how much they want to talk to them here.
Yeah, it seems so. So keep it, completely open. That everyone can chat with everyone while in battle.
Yeah, so you would be able to start a conversation, I guess, or receive a conversation when you're in battle.
Yeah. I mean, possibly somewhere down the line, there's a lot of logistical issues that come with allowing human beings to communicate freely with one another.
Oh no,
Uh,
this is not like between each other. It's like on your friends list. So I would be able to talk with you while I'm playing against whoever.
yeah, okay. Yeah. I mean, that might be something. I mean, that's a bit of maybe a UI challenge, but yeah, why not? I mean, we definitely we could consider that.
Okay. Would new unit types ever be added to the game? Battleships, submarines, or aircraft carriers? I mean, and not specifically those. We've talked about the marine vehicles and stuff being represented as orders because it doesn't make sense to have them fighting infantry in the front line. But it's basically just, are we adding new keywords? I assume is the way we
Or
would
I
talk
mean,
about it.
I think, as I understand it, it might also be like the types that we actually removed at some point. I mean, we had like tank destroyers was a
Yeah.
specific type. Different artillery types were in there, like anti-aircraft guns and anti-tank guns. Self-propelled artillery could be something. Tactical bombers, things like this. I don't think. I mean, there are no immediate plans at least to add types. And like I said, we had more of them to begin with, but we felt it was better to just have fewer types than too many, just to simplify a bit the gameplay. And it's hard to balance too many types against each other when they all have, a lot of built-in abilities.
Mhm. That makes
So I,
sense.
I, I don't think so, but who knows down the line? Maybe we'll even remove a type.
Oh, now you just made a lot of people really scared.
We're gonna remove tanks. Tanks, they didn't do much in World War II anyway.
Oh no, not at all. All right, next question here. Will we see more customization options for the weapons in the corners of the screen in the future? Um, yes, we will. We're working on a ton of stuff for that, and we're kind of thinking when we're looking at it, we're thinking we don't want to just throw something out there. We kind of want to take our time, figure out, what works, what do people care about having there, how can we make an efficient pipeline so that we don't just throw 10 things out there and then do nothing for 6 months. So we do have some things ready to go. We're working on some, fun promotion and content and stuff around it, and I would expect to see that coming in the next couple of months. Kind of the first drops of new cosmetics and table props. So super excited about that. And if you watch the Steam tabletop event, I snuck in the new table props in the gameplay videos there. So also, it's not only going to be weapons. I think I don't know if I think it was during Battle of Moscow or something where I asked the Twitch chat to give us suggestions, and people brought up suggestions like cups of tea and radios and walkie-talkies and timepieces and that kind of stuff. So let's let's not rule anything out here.
Anything that makes sense in that setting can we're open to consider.
I honestly think that a cup of tea would likely be our most, our biggest seller, our most popular cosmetic that we could release. I just have a feeling. But all right, are more single-player expansions like Theaters of War planned for the future? I picked that up, and I'm quite enjoying my playthrough of it so far. I want to give a special shout-out to the person that asked this question. It was a new player that found us during the Tabletop Festival. So super excited that you actually managed to discover us through that and are enjoying your time in the game. But now, Guðmundur can answer your question.
Yeah, definitely yes. We were in many ways very happy with Theaters of War, and it plays out nicely and it looks the part, and it's fun. So we'll definitely be repeating some sort of an expansion with single-player historical content like that. Maybe it will also be PvP content, but definitely something historical and packaged maybe in a similar way, maybe a little bit different. I don't know if it will be exactly the same, but something of that sort, yes. When exactly, we haven't really planned. I mean, we are very focused on the next expansion that we're working on, and everything after that in terms of expansions is just ideas on the drawing board, but we haven't nailed down anything.
Yeah. All right, the next question. Would you ever consider having expansions featuring content from other conflicts in the 20th century?
Within KARDS?
Yes.
No, I don't think so. I mean, we've always been really focused on I mean, hence the slogan of the game. I mean, it's the World War II card game. So I don't think that would really make sense. I mean, if we were going down that line, I think it would much more likely be just a separate project than a separate game, but we have no plan for that at this point.
Do you think that different constructed formats will eventually become necessary as the game grows? This is kind of referencing the different sets allowed within different playlists and different card games.
Probably, yeah. The answer is yeah, probably, but I think we are quite far from that still with our game. KARDS is such a young game, and so I think we'll just burn that bridge when we get there.
Yeah. Would you ever consider a physical tabletop version of KARDS?
This one we've had, I think, most AMAs. We don't have any plans to do it at the moment. We have been looking into it a little bit with actually a partner that is doing tabletop games and card games, and we're just discussing it. But I think it would always be much more like a promotional item or something that supports the cards as it is a digital game. I think we're not going to take the focus of cards as it is currently.
Yeah. I also, I think we have to be real about it. Publishing board games probably not the most exciting business venture in the middle of a global pandemic when you're kind of, relying on people gathering together and playing with a shared board of stuff.
Indeed.
When will we be able to craft gold cards, and when will we see an updated look for the gold cards? This is the mandatory question from Blue Blast, so I keep it in here because he always asks us, and the answer is, at some point. Keep waiting, Blue Blast. Keep saving up those resources. You can post screenshots on your Twitter or something to flex in the meantime, but eventually. Next question, what is the time frame on implementing the Reconnect feature?
Very short. Do you remember what the last plan was, Oli? I think it was just any week now.
The thing that I heard.
Final bug that they were trying to fix before it goes out.
Yeah. I mean, I can just talk about the overall process. I mean, Reconnected was something that it sounds really simple, but it's been worked on now for the past 6 weeks, I believe, since Petro started working on it. So it's presented some challenges, but it's in the final stages of testing. They're working out the last, like you say, final bug, that's causing significant issues. And as soon as that is ready, it will go out. But it will be in the game, I can say with a fair degree of confidence, before the World Championship. So I think that's a huge kind of emphasis for us to try and get it out before the World Championship, at least before the top 16 and onwards. So yes. All right, next one. Are there any teasers you can give us about the winter expansion?
No.
The only teaser I can give is that I saw the proposed key art for the first time in a meeting the other day, and like almost wet myself. I was so excited. It was so cool, Gumi. Like, I don't know if you realize it was so cool. So I'm really excited.
It's going to be a fun expansion, and we'll start teasing it soon enough.
Yeah, we will. You'll see some information coming out about the expansion in the coming weeks. So when will we see the new table props being released? In the next couple of months, I would assume.
The first batch.
Yes. Then will the Mac client be released next month as planned?
As far as I'm aware of, yes, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, we just talked about this the other day. Looks like we're all on plans and getting this out.
Yeah, I just got an update from the programmers today about it, and I think it's just looking pretty good.
Can we get some kind of API to implement custom AIs? So I kind of have an answer. I kind of have an answer to this one, because the thing is, like, I would say, can we get an API? Yes, at some point, preferably, the sooner the better. You guys in the community are awesome. You have, a ton of burning passion for the game, and I think with a resource like an API, it would be amazing to see what you guys could build. However, I would probably caution against building it in a way that it could be used to run, bots in cards. So we would definitely not want like third parties to be able to create bot accounts and grind the ladder or do anything like that. So I understand it. Maybe there are different ways to achieve the same result in the long run. If you're using it to practice or something like that, maybe there's an in-game AI deck builder or something that you can do to make practice decks against you or something. I don't know. but I would say like with that specific goal in mind, probably not. But some kind of API, probably, definitely. I mean, I'm a huge fan of it. Are squads still on the roadmap?
Yes, definitely, but they have been pushed back a little bit due to these other focus things that I mentioned earlier. Of course, the expansion and mobile and the progression systems and new player experience things.
Yeah. Kind of social cohesion in KARDS is definitely something that we want to improve, and we'll probably get to in 2021, I would expect. Next question: can we get the game in more currencies?
I mean, I don't know if everyone knows, but I mean, we started testing out a little bit different currencies recently in Russia and Brazil, and we are still just evaluating how that is playing out, and then we'll take the next steps based on that.
Absolutely. And the last question. This is question number 40. Gumi, I have to give us a pat on the back here. We've really been efficient here. Yeah. When will the AI get stronger decks?
That's a good question. I don't have an answer to that. I'm not familiar that we're working on different decks for the AI.
I know we have quite. I mean, I know we have quite a few decks that the AI kind of can draw from. So I don't necessarily expect this to come in the in the next couple of weeks or months. There's plenty other stuff that we have to do. I also think in general, I mean, we can share that as we kind of finished our planning earlier this year, as we walk out of that planning session with a brand new plan, an opportunity comes up that's kind of taken a part of our resources, but has potentially massive implications for the future of KARDS, which we of course want to explore for you guys. So we haven't had the full extent of our development resources that we even estimated that we would have for this period. So we've been pushing and pushing as much as we can to try and kind of stick to our plan, and been really happy with what we've gotten out, and hope you guys are happy as well. The state of the game is good. It feels more stable. We're still getting all the tournaments and the community events. Just got like an awesome takeover from Team Radiant Gaming on our Twitch channel. Released a documentary, so we're really cramming in to try and get as much stuff out there as possible. So by all means, keep the feedback coming, keep the suggestions and questions coming, and let's enjoy this ride together.
Absolutely.
So do we want to there's a question here from Facebook that I just saw. Okay, let's do. We'll do a few questions from chat. We have like 5 minutes before we need to say our goodbyes, Gumi.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I don't understand, why can't you show teasers before the expansion? Soon it is here, but we don't know nothing about it at all. Levente on Facebook, we're going to be entering spoiler season in the next couple of weeks, so we're going to be trickling out the information as that progresses. Next question here from Spoos. Spectator mode when? It's a good question. We don't really know.
No, it's one of these things we really have been planning to do and want to do, but we are always pushing it a little further ahead due to lack of resources.
Yeah.
But one thing, I mean, because you were mentioning that we are, listening, but we have limited resources. But of course, I mean, also because we're a pretty small team, we can also be pretty agile. So if you guys really want something to pressure us, then we might shift our focus very quickly. There are some benefits with having small teams as well.
That's true. Just 3 questions here from Ballistic Gamer. Will 17th rifles ever be nerfed? Yeah, I mean, at some point, if it becomes a huge problem, I think this is a good opportunity for us to maybe share, you know, when we look at a card and we think, is it overpowered or is it too strong or whatever? There are multiple factors to look at, and I think people would be amazed as to how differently cards play between different skill levels, right? So, like, you might have a card that is really strong in a super narrow, skill bracket, but kind of sucks everywhere else. And it's super strange to kind of have to balance around that. So,
Yeah.
I understand that a lot of people have the perception that certain cards are overpowered, but trust that we look at like the objective stats across the board before we make decisions on balancing. Um, 2, will there ever be any new ways to get gold? Yeah, I mean, yes, kind of
Yeah,
changing.
definitely.
I mean, we're changing the progression system, so yes.
Definitely. And then so down the line in the future, there will be different game modes and also.
Yeah, and that kind of goes into the next couple of questions, which is, will the campaign we have now ever be updated? I mean, not updated, but we might release more content, single player content. And
I definitely also want to update it, since we're talking about that. I want
yeah,
to polish it. There are some things in there that I'd really love to polish. But in general, yeah, I think the question was more about getting something similar, I guess.
yeah, and then last part, will there ever be a 4th game mode? I mean, yes, we will do experiments with game modes and ways to play the game in the future.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Is the documentary on YouTube yet? No, we're actually working to potentially get another soundtrack under it, just to make it even better. So we're kind of waiting on the first iteration of that. Arizona Kid asks spectators, like we said, still kind of unknown. Are we getting more emotes and HQ themes?
Ah, definitely.
Yep.
All in due time.
Um, will it be possible to get the new cards from the winter expansion out of the current national packs?
Uh, that's a really good question. Currently, I mean, yeah, the national packs are set up in a way so that you can get cards from any expansion in them. So I think I'm not promising it, but I think we will keep that so that you might also get cards from the new expansion.
Nice.
I don't see why we wouldn't.
Okay. Can we expect an exploit the gap buff sometime soon? I find it almost impossible to be playable. We're probably not the guys to comment directly on specific cards. Kieli is the all-powerful man when it comes to all-powerful person when it comes to
But
that.
I agree, though, that I've been wanting to use that card often, and I always end up throwing it out in the end.
Yeah. Will we ever have a 2v2 or some kind of new mode? Yes. What is the release date for the expansion? We haven't announced it yet, but it's December, right? Can we say anything more than that?
Uh, Q1, 2 of December. I don't know.
Um,
Before Christmas, at least. I can promise that.
yes. Arizona Kid asks a pretty interesting question that I really doubt that we can actually answer in any meaningful way. How is 1939 doing financially? I can say we can't really talk about it, but we're not evaporating in the next 2 months.
Oh, no, I mean, we're doing just, yeah, we're doing okay.
How are you feeling about the rise of cards-based esports teams like Radiant Gaming and some other that may come in the future? I absolutely love it. Like absolutely love it. That's why I'm giving them shout outs here as well. So if there's other people out there that are thinking about doing the same, do it, because I love seeing it. And you know when it comes to gaming and it comes to these kind of online PvP games, where the depth of knowledge on how the game plays really lies with the community. I think it would always be not worthwhile effort for us to try and write out the knowledge that is existing in the community. So when I see a team like Radiant Gaming come up and write the guides and do the videos and put all the effort and passion into it, it just humbles me. That people are that passionate about the game and willing to do it. So absolutely love it.
Second that.
Nowadays, I encounter just professional decks, and it is very hard to play and even enjoy it. What about this issue? There are 3 certain types of these pro decks. So Levente, what you're probably experiencing is a pretty interesting thing when it comes to card games in general. Is like, if your skill as a player develops faster than the size of your collection, you'll probably end up in a mismatched situation while your collection catches up. So I think you're probably in a situation now where maybe switching to draft for a little bit would help you kind of expand your collection and grab some of those critical cards. Also, maybe try out a new nation, try out some different decks, maybe watch a few guides, check out the guide from Team Radiant Gaming, because there's always a way out of this hole, even though it can sometimes be really frustrating. So I mean, I understand the feeling, and thank you for persevering and being here asking that question. Well, yeah, keep going. Um, mm, 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 mm. I didn't ignore your question, Tarantino. I asked it. Oh, I'm looking at old things. Do you have dates or time of the week for the OCC yet? I might have missed the answer earlier. It's gonna be. Let me open my calendar here. So 7th and 8th is going to be the first Swiss weekend of the World Championship. 14th and 15th is going to be the second. So we were going to be playing it on the 17th, 18th, 19th of November. Somewhere around those 3 days, we would be playing the OCC. All right, I think that's pretty much everything that we have time for at the moment. Do you have anything more to say?
No, I don't think so. Just, hugs and kisses to everyone.
When will the stream end? I know that you're going to answer this one. I did skip your question, I think, Raparast. That was the right way to pronounce your name, but it is because we've answered it a couple of times in the past, so sorry. All right. Well, that's going to be it for us. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Final words, Gumi? No?
Just see you next time, guys.
Awesome. Well, see you next time, guys. Enjoy the weekend. I hope you do enjoy it. I hope you're staying safe. I hope you're buckling down and being all right in this crazy world that we live in. If there's ever anything that you guys need to get across to us, then post it on one of our channels. We will see it and we will listen. Thank you so much for playing cards. We appreciate every single one of you, and we will see you next time.